Hello and welcome to the program On The Spot. I am Martins Dixon, your regular anchor. Today on the program, we'll be looking at tertiary education in Nigeria. It is, the education in the tertiary level has been in the limelight recently with a lot of issues. People of different opinions saying what they have to say about the standard, quality, and what our tertiary institutions are offering recently. I have someone who has an experience here in Nigerian institutions and also an experience from a university abroad. And we'll be talking about what is obtainable in our tertiary institutions and what is obtainable where he is presently having a study. He's right here with me in the studio, but you get to meet my guest after this short break. Please don't go away. We'll be right back. Good to know you're still here with us. The program is On The Spot, and on the spot today is Ahmad Shehu. Ahmed, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
Ahmad Shehu is a lecturer with Bayero University, Kano, and presently undergoing postgraduate studies in University of Malaya in Malaysia. Happy to have you on the program.
Thank you so much. It's an honor.
Yeah, now tertiary education in Nigeria. Now let's begin to first of all, look at our tertiary institutions in the limelight. You've made your study here now before venturing to Malaysia to further your studies. Now, how will you begin to rate the kind of education or the system generally in our tertiary institutions?
Well, actually, at the moment, it's not funny to see where we are heading to.
Welcome back. We apologize for the break in transmission. That was due to power failure here in the studio. The topic of discussion today On The Spot is tertiary education in Nigeria. And I have here in the studio Ahmad Shehu. He is a lecturer with Bayero University, Kano, and presently undergoing postgraduate studies at the University of Malaya in Malaysia. Now, we've started looking at the general system of tertiary education in Nigeria. I'll put the question again, and let's see what is obtained on a general note in our tertiary institutions.
Alhamdulillah, like I was saying, if you have been to any of our universities, we call them here universities, but as to what a university should look like, then we just call them schools. But that is what is obtainable to us here. Then we say universities. We have first generation universities, University of Ibadan, University of ABU Zaria, and then you can call of UNILAG and so on. And then our second generation universities, BUK, ABU, BUK, UNIMED, and UDUS in Sokoto and so on.
All right.
Honestly, we have been obtaining certificates, but not really knowledge.
Now, when you talk about certificate and knowledge, now, maybe put it in the limelight where everyone will understand. What differences are you making out of the two?
Yeah. For you to have knowledge, you need three fundamental things, all available to you, all the time. First and foremost, you need enough in terms of nature and enough in terms of quality and enough in terms of competence. Teachers who are really competent, teachers who are really up to date. For a teacher to be up to date himself, the student and teacher here need same things. One is the infrastructure, and second is the resources. Infrastructure in education in Nigeria is totally zero. I mean, zero after a decimal place, because we are in a place that you do not have a common power supply, that you can have access to your computers or your computer all the time. And then up in the north, it's too hot. Down in the south, it's too humid. You always need power to be comfortable in your office as a teacher, to even mark your assignments, or if you return home, you need the power supply to do your official work at home. And second, infrastructure is most important to both students and teachers in a school is that of internet, which also depends on the power.
Okay.
And that of the resources to information. That is, the library should be equipped with latest books in each field, and you have access to online journal articles, that daily publications, new knowledge in the field and so on, where a teacher will be really informed. When he teaches his students, it's not like he's giving them something that has been outdated. You see people referencing books of around 1950s, or 18, in fact, you see people quoting people 1850s. There is knowledge all available on the net. So I graduated from University of Maiduguri.
Okay.
I presented my department to discuss with people from different universities who came for accreditation.
Yeah.
And at that time, when they asked me about information technology, honestly, I do not know anything about that, because I got to pay 500 naira for people to do my online registration that time, and I was about to be a graduate.
No, somebody going to the internet for you as a potential graduate. That was in your final year? Oh, wow.
Yes, that was, and as recent as 2008. So that tells you that the quality of graduates Nigerian universities have been throwing out to go and do, to take care of the country itself does not make sense, because you can graduate from a university. Some do not even have a common English to communicate. Some find it very difficult, to defend their certificates. Could it be third class or whatever? As a graduate abroad, you should be able to have skills in your field that you are being trained. Reason is that you have the facilities available. If you are in the sciences, you have equipped laboratory staff who take care of you all the time. So if you need something that you do not know how to do it physically, you have the laboratory. You are not cramming books and then writing exams and then formatting your brain before the next semester.
Now let's look at some of these issues one after the other. Let's take, for instance, infrastructure. Now that you've mentioned earlier. Now, what kind of infrastructure is unavailable in our school? Because most times we hear lecturers and probably experts in the education sector talking about adequate infrastructure.
Yes. Adequate infrastructure means the ratio, that is the number of students compared to the available environment, environment of learning. For example, now, in my class of 2008 University of the Department of Linguistics, about 30% of us sit on the floor to receive lectures.
Now, on the floor?
Yes.
Now, this is somewhat like unacceptable
in the whole world, except in Nigeria.
Yeah, well, I was not even going to talk about in Nigeria, but let's take a little bit of a kind of comparison. Probably, if you mention that in the primary school or secondary school, someone would just give it away. But in the university, when you have grown-ups, how do you make them sit on the floor to receive lectures?
Why? Because there are not enough classrooms. The classrooms were built since Sardauna's time. I do not know when time those LTs were built for. And then the number of students that time were like 15 or 20 per class. But this time, we were over 300 students taking same lectures in the same class. You can imagine the ratio of the class, the seats available, compared to the number of the students taking their lecture in that same class that has been in use for about 30 or some decades.
Looking at the strength of your class when you were in the university, we were going to build this up to where you are now, and then see what comparisons we're making. Now, when you look at the strength of your class when you were in the university, and then you have to make do with sometimes sitting on the floor to receive lectures. Now, what kind of effect does that have on your person as a student?
Automatically, it's really more than annoying. It retards, it retards you. It makes you feel like you are no different from someone who is not in the school system. It makes you feel that you are not honored. It makes you feel that you are not in your home country. It makes you hate everything, It doesn't encourage you. It doesn't give you that sense of feeling that you are in a higher education society, that now you are a complete Nigerian, you are responsible, that you can take care of yourself. Why? Because of how this community, how the society treats you.
Now, what makes Nigerian students to keep going on in spite of all these inadequacies?
Maybe I remember a book I read that someone said, do not allow yourself to be, to get used with nonsense. You know, we are used to it. It has been a situation I have undergone ever since I have been in primary school. You know, I attended nomadic primary school.
Okay.
I'm from a true village. I am a nomad. So I attended that primary school under a tree, a shade of a tree, except for the British Council program that I attended in FC Yola in 1998 to 2000.
Okay.
And from there, honestly, in that program, I was more than comfortable because I had my personal room, the class was okay, PhD holders teaching me as a secondary school student. After then, in my NCA level, we were more than 3,000 taking a class. Each educational class, we are more than 1,500 people in a hall. Imagine without power supply.
Now, what was the capacity of the hall?
If you know Jibril Amin's hall in FC Yola, and one of the educational hall are the halls we do take our educational courses that time, I don't know now. So it's like every educational day, like Monday and Wednesday during NC1 and NC2, you know, we got to rush, you know, before you get a seat to sit, and a teacher teaching, you don't hear him. You can only rely on you know, on materials being given, then you read to pass your exams. So it's like we are used to it. Imagine how sunny and how hot my degree is.
Yeah.
But we sit in the class closed without a fan, without anything. The atmosphere is so horrific. But Nigerians are so hardworking people, too patient to ask for their right.
Too patient to ask. And how do you explain that? You're too patient to ask for your right?
Because as far as the world is concerned, university students are people who turn the country around. They are youths who really ask, why is this happening to us? We were supposed to be people who should raise questions in the society. To say that, if you remember Russia, what happened in Russia, it was a university student who began asking questions about the government. You know, what happened in India, Mahatma Gandhi started when he was a student. If you see Raleigh Kings of Ghana, before he became the military officer, he began asking questions. So university students were people who are expected to be so matured to say, why is this happening to our country? You know, we cannot accept this because it's really not ours. Because we have the resources, we have the money, we have everything available to change these things to make ourselves better people, to make our society a better society for our lives.
So why do questions not come in? What is happening to Nigerian youth?
I think we do not think right.
No, thinking right and asking questions. Now, what is the correlation?
We need to think after we have thought that, look, this thing is really wrong. Even in research, you need to identify a problem. After looking at a problem, then you ask research questions. Okay, this is a problem. Then what questions do I answer to solve this problem? For example, now, you need to know there is a virus before a pharmacist tries to see, okay, what are the questions to answer to cure this virus? And then start looking for the cure. So we need to think right, to think that the situation we are living in our educational system is really wrong. Then we begin to ask, what is the problem? Where is the problem coming from? For example, is it that we do not have the money? Okay, how do we look for money?
Now, let's look at this. The situation that we find ourselves in now has pushed university lecturers into several strike actions in the past. And recently, the universities are closed.
We are on strike.
The polytechnics are also closed. Now, what does it tell on a nation like Nigeria when we need to develop on a faster pace to meet up with the changing trends in the world? And yet we find where the work, bulk of the brain work is supposed to be done, our institutions are always closed.
Actually, we need a government. Whatever we are talking about here, or even outside this studio, is about things are not going right. And that Nigeria is really getting retarded. And Nigeria is really getting drained. And except Nigerians ask real questions and find real answers to all the sectors, not only education, actually, we will continue to see worse things, and most of us will end our lives living this miserable life. University teachers in Nigeria, if you compare them with their counterparts in countries that are less even resourced, countries that don't have the economic strength compared to Nigeria, honestly, these lecturers are not being really their work situation is really unimaginable. Okay, let me tell you something. It's not only about payment.
Now, because most of the times, I remember you were once a student. Have you experienced that strike period while you were in school?
Thank God. When I went to university in 2006, it was JD. I mean, I will never forget him in life. During his time, University of Maiduguri do not go to strike. Teachers in that university do not go to strike.
So you haven't experienced strike?
Yeah, it was only once when there was a kind of warning strike for 3 days.
Okay, I was coming to that because most times as a student, students react negatively to strike actions.
Yes.
And now as a lecturer, how do you react to strike actions, comparing the two while you were a student and now that you are a lecturer in the same system?
If I am asked and if my opinion was going to work, then I don't support a strike action. But sometimes you see, things are being forced into people. For example, now, why ASU is on strike is that there has been a negotiation between the government, that is MOU, being signed by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the ASU, chairman of the
leadership.
ASU leadership. Thank you. Since when? 2009. We're talking about how many years? It's about 4 years. So, what is this government doing? What's the administration? Are they really concerned? This is about agreement that we agree that you do this for me, but I have been following up. You failed to do it. And this is something that is my right, and you acknowledge it's my right. So maybe I would really use any weapon available to me to make sure that this MOU we have signed have come to reality. But if there has been government that really cares about what it says, it promises, then actually there wouldn't have been any strike in Nigeria.
So the failure of the government to uphold its own promises.
Yeah.
Now, what effect does it have on the education sector as it is? Maybe covering the curriculum, dispensing of knowledge to students, and then having the system to run smoothly. What effect do these strikes often have?
Look, this strike has the worst effect in our educational system, especially university. A student who is supposed to graduate in 2030, a strike can force him to graduate in 2015. A hardworking student pointing first class, a strike can force him to come down, because when you go out, your mind goes somewhere else. And then a strike is not like a break. You do not know when you will resume.
Yeah.
So that's why we always have a crash program, a curriculum that has been supposed to taught for in about like 14 weeks. It ended up, being summarized into 4 or 5 weeks. We want to write exams. So at the tail end of the day, you will have a certificate, not what? Not knowledge. Because you didn't go rigorously through the curriculum.
Now you mentioned this twice in our discussion so far, the certificate and knowledge.
And knowledge.
Now, where really is the problem?
The problem is that we don't have that nice flow of the calendar. For example, now, when I was in Malaysia, I went in September. And right from when I left Nigeria, I knew by January 9th, I must have rounded up my first semester.
So there was a specific date to that.
Sorry?
There was a specific date.
Yes, for that. And before I went there, I knew the courses I was supposed to take, and the days of the lectures, and the weeks it takes, and even the assignments that I'm supposed to write, when to submit. I knew all this.
No, your assignments before you went to school?
Yeah, I knew that in week 8, I must write a mid-semester test. And I know in each course, I got like 3 term papers to write and present to the class. And I knew that I have to review like 15 articles for each course and so on. So you may have some changes, but they really don't affect your calendar. And when I get there, I have in school, my phone is wireless. I have internet on my phone, it's for free. If on my computer, I have a very strong internet, running the YouTube, running everything. My library is really equipped and subscribed to all the journals in my field in the world. I have access to them as long as I can log in with my library ID card.
Yeah.
The books are really latest. No one wishes to see you referencing a book of 2010 because there is a new knowledge on that field, people making research.
Yeah.
So you are really informed. When I am home, I was really comfortable. I have the 2-bedroom and parlor, I have the internet, I have the light day and night. So I got to plan my day. I want to sleep between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. and read after them. That is not possible in Nigeria.
Okay, now we'll begin to look at all these things you've outlined available in your school in Malaysia and what is obtainable here in Nigeria. But first, we're going to take a break and then we'll be back to continue. Viewers, it's been On the Spot. On the spot today is Ahmad Shehu. He is a lecturer with Bayero University, Kano, and a postgraduate student in the University of Malaya in Malaysia. We'll be back to continue. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Good to know you're still here with us. If you're just joining us, the program is On the Spot. And On the Spot today is Ahmad Shehu, a lecturer with Bayero University, Kano. We are looking at tertiary education in Nigeria and his experience in Malaysia. Now, you've outlined some of the things available for you in school as a student. Were you responsible for providing these things, or the institution just made them available?
Yeah. The university made them 100% available. I do not know how they source it. Is it part of my school fees? Is it whatever they did? I just knew that I don't pay, for internet. I don't pay for power supply on campus. So all these things are made available. So with those things available to you, and coupled with your interest to be, an outstanding academics, then you have, even the sky is not your limit in this case, because you can go as far as you wish to go, because you have 3 things simultaneously. You have a conducive environment for this, and you have well-trained and teachers who are willing to help you grow academically. And then you have the infrastructure that I just said, the materials, the library is there, the internet is there. My library is really equipped with printers. I can print from my home direct to my library. When I get to the library, I need to show my ID card and pick my printouts.
Now that's from where you stay. Is it on campus?
Off campus, far from my campus, about 45 minutes drive.
But you can still print documents?
I can print from my home wirelessly to my library. Once I get to school the following day, I just go and show the printer, scan my card on this printer, and then my prints out will just come out and I'll pick them. That's all free for me. So the soft copy is there on my system. And you have the abundant time to study. Unlike in Nigeria, all Malaysians, if you are Malaysian, you have that credit, or that if you are 2-1 graduate, you have that sponsorship up till your PhD for free. You can study in any best university in the world.
As long as you have a 2-1.
As long as you have a 2-1, if you're Malaysian. If you have less than that, you have the credit. You have a credit to go and study. After you start working, then you pay off all these things. So if you look at these things, these places are places that Nigeria was really beyond them. We were really more giant than they were.
In the recent past.
Just recently. But today, we rush. If you board a plane to Malaysia, you'll be surprised. You see uncountable Nigerians. Some are not even going for school. Some are even looking for where to live,
Now, is your choice for school in Malaya, is it as a result of this infrastructure made available, or what informed your choice?
Well, not Malaya. My choice to study abroad began ever since I was a child.
Okay, but it was not specifically Malaya at first.
I just went to Malaysia by coincidence.
Okay.
Because I was supposed to be in SOAS, School for Oriental and African Studies, London.
Okay.
And then my mentor, he's more than like a father to me, Dr. Abubakar Gire, now current member representing Gire local government in the House of Assembly. He always make best choices for me, and he chose the SOAS for me. Okay. But at the end of the day, I end up going to Malaya. Then I say it's like a choice from God or something.
Yeah.
And then once I got there, I never regretted why I was there, because I found all things I was looking for.
Now, the experience you are getting presently in Malaya, now how do you think Nigeria will benefit from it, especially your primary place, the Bayero University, Kano? How do you think they will benefit from that experience?
Wow. As long as I live, inshallah, and as long as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted me that, prestigious moment to return home and that I have finished my study to be UK, I will be sure, at least, implementing things I learned from my school, like 75%. Why is that? I am training myself to behave just like my current teachers do behave with their students, student-teacher relationship.
That is over there in Malaysia?
Over there in Malaysia,
okay.
Where you see a teacher begging a student to come and learn, buying books for you, helping you, motivating you, asking you if you have any question, please meet me in my office.
Why do you think is possible? You weren't doing that as a lecturer before you went to Malaysia.
Well, I just started my job before I left.
Okay. Now, why is it difficult for Nigerian lecturers to do exactly this?
Well, I guess the society.
What's the problem with the society?
The lecturers and the people in the society are people who make up the society. Number one is that in Nigeria, we do not have that issue of supervision. In my school, we supervise our lecturers because we rate them every end of the semester.
Now, wait. Now, when you talk, it is conventional for one to hear in Nigeria that a lecturer supervises a student and also maybe try to say the student is inadequate or doesn't do this. But when you say a student supervising the lecturer in this regard, now what do you mean?
Well, that is actually what is happening. Okay, what happens is that each end of the semester, each student has a portal on the university website. So before you be able to print your exam slip from the portal, you have to assess the lecturers. Then you assess the university. Then you assess the curriculum. Without doing this, I mean, you won't print your exam slip.
So it's compulsory for you to make those assessments?
Yes. So in each assessment, I'm telling you, if there are 2 students in a class assessing their lecturer negatively in whatever aspect, that lecturer will be queried without knowing who are the students who really complained about him or her. What you will be asked about is not his grace. Okay. It's not the way he talks. No. Did he really finish his or her curriculum, the activities that are being given? Yeah. How were you assessed? Do you think he or she was not biased in assessing you? Do you really think that the assessment and the content of the course is really current and really helps you to be who you want to be? Do you think that this lecturer is really up to the task in teaching this course? Do you think the knowledge of his knowledge of the subject matter is adequate? Those are the things that you will be asked to assess. And then you'll be given like 5 options. Strongly disagreed, disagreed, agreed, strongly agreed, and so on.
Now you have a student here trying to assess the way the lecturer teaches and then covering the subject matter or the particular curriculum in a course. But you find that in Nigerian universities that a lecturer does not sometimes cover even up to half, and he gets away with it. Yeah,
because he's not being supervised. In Nigeria, we have that idea of carelessness. That's why I told you that Nigerian students or Nigerians need to identify that they are living in dangerous problems, and then they begin to ask questions. Students can ask questions, and they can win. Because I questioned my results. after my graduation, I questioned my GP.
In Nigeria?
In Nigerian University of my degree, and I won it.
And it was corrected?
It was, after 2 years.
No, it took 2 years.
It took me 2 years to fight that back. But alhamdulillah, it did. I have been all the while going around with 2-1
Okay.
before it got corrected and I got my first class, and that's all.
Now, how do you even know that you were supposed to correct that result?
I was not a type of Nigerian who really does not care about what happens. Right here, I can tell you the courses I sat for in the university and the grades I got, including my CA marks. Yeah. I have all the records that I went through, including all receipts in the university.
Now, so that means partly some of the challenges we're facing is with the Nigerian youth and students generally. Now, how do they get to change their orientation and begin to act proactively?
Maybe they got to study, one. And secondly, we need to be involved, we need to be curious about what is happening to us.
Now, is that the major challenge?
Yeah. Because even in Nigerian lecturers are not the problem, because lecturers that are really aware, that do want to do something good, the society is really not helping it.
No, let me ask you this. You are presently in Malaysia.
Yeah.
And then you'll be back then to continue your lecturing job at the university. Now, most Nigerians go out there in Europe to do their postgraduate and their PhDs, and then they come back to Nigeria. Now, doesn't this have a kind of clash with the system we have here?
What way?
No problem. What you learn there, what the system you get exposed to, and then you come back to Nigeria and it's a different system.
Yes, you see, I first mentioned about the society because, okay, if you have all the infrastructures I just mentioned abroad, and now you come home, you go to cope with the miserable situation we live in. Like if you work in Kano, you can imagine staying in some areas in Kano without power supply for 1 week. And then you can imagine your inability to have access to a little short of internet except on your phone. And then you can imagine some books you go to send someone who is studying abroad to buy for you, you know. So the availability of the resources you would want to harness to make use of, to change the system and to behave and then to do what you want to do, those things will never be available for you. So you just got to fold your hands and be watching. Before you know it, your mind is really, you know, you will be really stressed, and then at the end of the day, you say, forget it, Jerry. My papa walk.
Now, someone has argued that the upcoming private universities in Nigeria actually are proffering solution to some of these inadequacies. Now, would you say that is correct?
I'm sorry to be unable to comment on private universities because I do not have any experience. I have never been there. You know, I don't know what is happening actually in the private university sector.
You haven't seen any or have friends in any?
No, but because I am from a poor family, so people of my family do not go to private schools. I have never been to a private school, but honestly, abroad, only a lazy student, only a Jabuta who do not hope to do something but his business, those are people, or people who are really slow learners, those are people who go to private universities.
Now that sounds like people who really have a challenge in the society.
People who cannot cope with the real situation.
The rigors of studies.
Yes, but the best universities in the world are public universities. University of Malaya is 150 in the world. It is the first Malaysian university. In Malaysia, any private university is not a university, it's a college.
So they don't kind of honor private universities the way we do here?
The name is just college. You went to a private college.
So it can't be called a university in Malaysia?
It's a private college.
Now, why do you think it is so?
Because the government, they have a working system. The government is really, really working and they really mean business. University of Malaya has like about 2 billion naira each quarter. That money is just for research.
2 billion?
2 billion naira, even more than that.
For one university?
Yeah, and it's quarterly. This money is coming from the government. It's just to sponsor research projects. For example, if I want to write, now I am trying to write on Fulfulde language, which is not a language in Malaysia. It's from Africa. But if it can add to knowledge, if I can publish in standard journals in linguistics
Yes.
about what I'm studying. Each journal article in tier 1, I would be paid 300,000 naira cash, just as a ransom, just like to say clap for him.
Who pays you that?
The university management.
In Malaysia?
Yes.
So will Bayero University pay you such amount of money if you do that kind of publication?
I don't know. Maybe when I meet my VC, I will ask him.
Now, let us look at the situation. Nigerian lecturers and then stakeholders in the education system are clamoring for more funds in education. Now, you mentioned 2 billion naira for just one quarterly. So probably in a year, we'll be talking about 6 billion naira for one university.
Just from government.
From the government. Now, other universities get their own also allocations.
Yes. Malaysia has 5 research universities.
Now, will we be right if we suggest that probably that is the reason why that university or the system there is succeeding?
But the problem is that you could have more than that in Nigeria, still it won't work. Because the
now, why do you think it won't work? Because the ASU is saying if funds are made available and infrastructure is improved, the standard will rise.
The problem is that the system is not being centralized. In Nigeria, the management of the university is not ASU. ASU are the teaching staff, always fighting against the management. Although the vice chancellor was an academic staff, but now he's like the representative of the president in the university. So automatically he's not part of ASU. So if money would come to any university, it comes through the management. And the management does what they think is right for them. At the end of the day, corruption will, battle the whole thing and you wouldn't know. It was just recent when Omar Yaradua gave, 6 universities some billions of nairas, and then although there were changes, when I came back to BUK, honestly, it's not because I'm from that university, but there are a lot of infrastructural changes.
So there's improvement.
I just wish, I hope, those things that have been put in place will be made use of. Then things will be okay. But at the end of the day, from the contractor to the person signing the contract, to even the president giving the contract. Then you wouldn't know where the problem will come up. Before you know it, there is nothing on ground. But up there, they really supervise. A single 1,000 ringgit can cost someone his job. You can imagine a vice chancellor being fired because he's been caught in the past of his publications. There was a kind of plagiarism. So you just got to do what is right. You have to think what is right and then do what is right without considering who is on the track, who do you want to please or something. You first look at the nation, look at your assignment, and then have focus, and then do what is right. At least, it's not as if the whole world, there's corruption everywhere, but it's a matter of degree.
It's minimal elsewhere.
Our own degree of corruption is unimaginable, where you see someone, a single person, having the whole money that can even take care of the whole country. And he wouldn't be willing to allow people just to make like teasing. So
even in the education sector, the issue to be looked at as a challenge is corruption.
Corruption is one, Corruption is one. When it comes to the management of the educational system, the educational fund, we really need to sort things out to know that things are going based on merit. Because we are living in a country that you hardly can earn based on your merit. You can only earn or get something because you know someone, or because someone knows you, or because you know what to do, or how, if your people, this is not Nigeria. So automatically the mindset of Nigerians has given them that you cannot even succeed unless you know how to, give bribes or, do all this kind of make people ask for something. We don't have the belief I see abroad with people, international students. Someone having a mindset that anything he gets in the world depends on how hard or how perfect he is in his field. That makes you not to feel that, even if I did Jerry, my father, my uncle is a senator, I know this one, I know someone. Just that, what class of degree are you? I am first class. Okay, you are going to UK Cambridge for free. You have 2-1 year, okay, you are going to Himalaya, it's for free. You have 2-2, okay, you have a credit available for you if you want to go for postgraduate studies, and so on and so forth. Things based on merit. It's not as if who is your father, who is your uncle, who is your sister. You don't have to lobby it. Once you have the merit, if you're an engineer, what you earn depends on how well you can do your engineering work. Gotel can hire you, at the same time, ABC can hire you, Radio Gombe can hire you, because you are the only most talented engineer who can fix this in good time. In Nigeria now, a mechanical engineer can hardly, fix, 2 wires, but he could be at the top of the NNPC. Best engineers who went to Harvard may even lack a job to do because it's not based on merit. So these things, even in the university system, the teachers need to know that the way you mark, the way you teach, what you give students really determines what they would be in future. Because these are people you are preparing their mind, their mindset to come out to rule the country.
Yeah.
As long as you can ruin how they think, to feel that, I know the Malam, he knows my uncle and so on. If you allow students to have this feeling, they will go to the level of the president and you will see them incapable of ruling the country. And you wouldn't know who would be the president. You can't predict it.
No, of course.
You will be teaching president after president for like 10 decades. You wouldn't know that you have been teaching the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So if you train him well, you are really, the world is in a cycle. What do scientists call it? Spherical in nature. Right? Yeah. So that is how whatever goes up goes down. Okay, if you teach them well, you make them good future leaders. Then you have children, they could turn
now are going to be better for it in the near future.
Don't even think about that. Think that now I am a graduate assistant in BUK. Later on, I will be a professor. And you are my teacher in University of Maiduguri. Now your student will come to BUK for the same degree. Can you imagine? Now I will be his teacher. Yeah. If you taught me well and you train me well, I will train your children very well.
Now, we have issues in Nigeria at times when people complain of being victimized for some flimsy reasons by lecturers. Do you have that in Malaysia happening?
Well, I cannot say never, but as long as I can see the system going, it will be very difficult. Because people over there really know their rights and they ask for it. They are never afraid. Why? Because they know justice is on the side of someone who is really right. At the end of the day, they will have the justice. But in Nigeria, a lecturer is too superior than a student. Because if he can write a petition against a lecturer, at the end of the day, he would be victimized because the whole lecturers may gang up behind their colleague. In Malaysia now, you can ask for remarking of your script as many as 3 times.
Where, in Nigerian university
in Malaysia.
Or in Malaysia?
You can ask for remarking and no one will be sad. The lecturer will not even think that you are doing something wrong. To them, they think it's right. Okay, you are not comfortable with these marks? Okay, you can apply, pay 50 ringgit. They will give another lecturer who the lecturer do not know who that person is. If he brings his record and his marking, you say, no, it's not still what I want. You can apply. No one will question it.
Why do Nigerian lecturers frown about when you call for remark?
Just like we said, there is no justice in the supervision. A lecturer should be responsible and should be feeling that he is caring about his students, and what happens to his student may affect his job because that is his own work. In Nigeria, a lecturer is too superior to a student, but abroad, compared to the university where I am, lecturers, we the students are bossy to lecturers because a lecturer got to apologize. In fact, we assess their timing. Does he come late? Does he go earlier the time? But a student can come into the class anytime he wishes, and he or she goes out anytime he or she wishes, because it assumed that it's left to him. He's a postgraduate student, he pays.
No, but isn't it wrong to adopt that kind of system?
At all. Education is about making someone feel very comfortable and actually feeling he wants to do it. It's about interest. This is postgraduate.
Now, how will you relate to your students when you get back full time in BUK?
Wow, I don't want to promise them. They might be watching, but
no, they might want to hear if some of them are watching.
I think
because
I will be there.
They are back home, right?
Yes.
So they might be watching this program, so they will want to hear what will be your contribution, or
honestly,
how you relate with them.
Honestly, I plan to be their best friend, because I know just before I return, I will not have all things set like what I have over there.
Yeah.
But as a person, since I said earlier, we have 3 things in education. You have the teacher, you have the environment, you have the student. These 3 things make the educational system going round the globe. The teacher is there, good, 1. The student is there, good, 2. this infrastructure, that is the board, because in over there they don't use board, but here we use board, the temple, the book, the library is there, then this infrastructure is there. We have three things. So as a person, as a teacher, I will make sure that my responsibility are being done to the best of my ability. Secondly, I hope to be their best friends. I mean, their best friend, I want to say. When they have a problem, I hope I will be able to, if it's not financial, because I'm not well paid, then I will try my best to see that I've solved their academic problem.
No, but you mentioned earlier that some lecturers in Malaysia will even buy books for students.
Yeah, my lecturer bought books for me.
So why wouldn't you buy books for your students?
She's well paid. I do not know. If I will be well paid by then, I can. Why not? I can.
All right. Now, the whole thing looks, comparing the two, makes us look sorry that the system here is a little bit pathetic now. Yeah. And this situation painted are a little bit horrific. Yeah. Now, if by virtue of your experience, you've been asked to advise, now, what do you think should be in place to make our system competitive?
Yeah. At least, not only in education, this is about general problem. If you look at the country itself, there's nothing virtually that is working. But why we are concerned about education is that all these things that are going round the globe have been circling behind the educational structure. Awolowo once said, people who are educated are easy to govern, but you can never be enslaved. If you have a majority of people that are literate, that are educated, you cannot enslave them. You can easily govern them. How? You give them their right, you care for them, they will realize that they have a government, and they will love the government, they will support the government, they will respect people in power, and they will listen and obey the law because they feel at home, they feel honored, they feel happy about their country. As long as a citizen is being maltreated all the time, he will hate the country, he will hate the government, he will hate people in power, and now that hatred will turn him to hate himself, in the sense that he will never do anything that is right for himself. You understand? For example now, the life Malaysians are living, easy going, cheap life. With your 300 naira, you have on your table a chicken, some rice, you know, some soft drink, with just 300 naira, Nigerian naira. You imagine how much that can cost you in Yola.
Yeah, you need over 1,000 to eat that kind of meal.
Don't talk about 1,000. If you're eating in a restaurant with this kind of delicious meal, talk about 5,000 naira. So, if you look at all these things, if you look at the environment, you just pass, you see people mopping it. They have easy transport, all these trains going. So people living in this condition will never want anything to hamper with that happiness they are in. They will feel that they don't have home but their country, and they will never allow anything wrong to happen in this home because they are enjoying their home.
So do we have hope for Nigeria?
Yes, a lot of hope.
We're going to get there.
In fact, I feel if Nigerians are ready, we can double them and pass them and then get to the level of the United States of America.
Now, so what would be your word, as we round out, the time is really coming up against us, and what would be your word as to students and then your colleagues, lecturers generally, to make the education sector better?
Students should work hard and then study the least available to them. They must make sure that they are in school not to get a degree, but to know about a degree.
And will you encourage students going out abroad to study, or they should stay back home to study?
Only those who are willing to go abroad and make positive changes, I encourage them to, because that is the only place you can get the experience. But there are those who just go abroad to spend Nigeria's money, ETF period, and then return home knowing nothing, some pay for projects and so on. I don't encourage that. People who go abroad, because Nigerians make good name in world-renowned universities. Best Malaysian mathematician is a Nigerian. He's from BUK.
A Nigerian.
He's from BUK. He's a colleague. So those are people who want there to go and color Nigeria with good names, not people who go and then steal people's money, do yahoo and spend, and spoil them, and they should remain at home. Let them ask for their right here at home, from the local government councillor to the chairman, to the member of the assembly, to the governor. Ask them. We voted you into power for this and this. Where is it? Ask them. Do not allow them to go away with your right. Ask them, where is this? You have the right to ask. If they kill you, you will still die. If they allow you to live, you will still die. Don't think about what would happen to you. Think about your children. Think about the future. Ask, where's the road that you promised when you were campaigning? What happened to it? Ask about your local hospital. Ask about the water supply. Do not come and say, I want to marry a second wife, or my wife is giving birth to a child. And don't ask about this. Ask about the future.
So basically, this is what Nigerians ask when they meet their leaders. Some money in the pocket.
So which is really bad, and it hampers the development of the society. All
right, thank you very much, Ahmad Shehu, for obliging to be on the spot today.
Thank you so much.
I'm happy having you. And we hope our viewers have been enlightened much enough, especially our leaders, students, and lecturers alike, whom you gave a word to for us to have a better society. Viewers, it's been On the Spot, and On the Spot today had been Ahmad Shehu, a lecturer with Bayero University, Kano. He is presently a postgraduate student at the University of Malaya in Malaysia. We discussed about tertiary education in Nigeria with comparisons to where he is studying in Malaysia. Thank you for being on the program. Please stay with us, get connected, and keep a date with us again tomorrow for another interesting discussion. I am Martins Dixon, your regular anchor. Do have a blissful day.